there, fanboys and fangirls. This is your host, the other Luke, and joining me as always,
the other host,
Sherlock Colvin,
Lord Skywalker,
and Ryden.
And well, you know what? I'm gonna steal your line, Ryden. First up at bat today is The Walking Dead. So we go right into it. That's gonna be pretty much a big chunk of this week's episode. We got a lot to cover. There's a lot of cool things going on, from like Pokemon to things going on with Marvel. But the big thing going on this week is Walking Dead is back. Some people have died. Hearts have been broken. I believe the other host is ready to riot.
Tears have been
shed. Just a little bit.
So, who's all had a chance to check out the episode?
Probably everybody here except for Lord Skywalker.
I haven't watched
it. Do you even watch it?
I am the odd man out. I do not watch The Walking Dead, but I was in the room while you guys were watching it. I was doing homework. I heard all of it.
That's true.
He heard the brutality.
It was some brutality.
And I saw the shocked faces of the two of us.
I heard about 6,000 bat smacks to the head.
Yes.
It was awesome.
I mean, at least you don't have to worry about any of them come back as zombies and then re-killing them.
Well, that's true. They're dead. They ain't coming back. They ain't coming back. Let's talk Jeffrey D. Morgan here. I know this guy from The Losers and Watchmen, the movies. Obviously, I thought he did fantastic. He's bringing to life Negan like I don't think anyone else could.
They went pretty hard on. It seems like his character is one of the bigger ones. They went more into making all of his scenes more like the comics than anything else. I mean, besides, of course, spoiler alert, anyone that's listening, Abraham dies first, and that in itself doesn't happen in the comics because he had died. I can't remember how much sooner before, but he died
fairly soon before.
Yeah, and I know Glenn was always set to die at the hand of Negan. And then I think one of the reasons why people are so up in war is because they had the whole trash can incident with Glenn.
Yeah. And Stephen Ewan had said I believe it's the Talking Dead show that this is how he wanted to stay true to the books with his death. And Abraham died. I don't remember who it was, but there was one of the lesbians. The blonde in last season, she got the arrow through the eye. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, I can't remember her name off.
Yeah, her name escapes me. Yeah, she got the arrow to the eye. That's how Abraham died in the comics. And honestly, it kind of took me off guard when Negan killed him because I honestly wasn't expecting that.
And I think that was the thing, everyone was expecting Glenn to die. So you know what? We're not going to make Glenn die first. We're going to kill someone else off. And then you're like, wait, are they really not going to kill? And then...
Well, the way they ended up doing it, they made it even more surprising since it was just, bam, there goes the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at least Glenn and Abraham both are two big players in the group. And it's, a significant loss for Rick and everyone else at Alexandria. It's kind of like, who's going to step up now? And also, let's talk Daryl.
Yes, Sean, let's talk Daryl.
What bugs me is, you get on social media, Facebook being the big one. You see all these posts, I hate Negan, he's an asshole, blah, 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 blah. And not one person has brought up the fact that the reason Glenn is dead is because of Daryl.
Yeah.
I assume the reason why you're blaming Daryl is because he throws the punch.
He smacked him right in the face. And yeah, it's Daryl's fault that Glenn is dead. And beside the fact that we were thinking he was going to die anyway, I guess I like the fact that it was a cause and effect. Daryl punches him in the face, and then Glenn's dead.
I think Negan would have killed Glenn anyway. I think he was always going to go for at least two of them.
And just kind of use that as the, well, you know what, I was going to wait till later, but I'm going to go ahead and do it now kind of thing.
Yeah, Negan's kind of sicko like that. He would have done it anyway. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, but I just think it was too early just to kill two of the big players in the group that quick.
I mean,
Well, they gotta cripple him to show how powerful Negan is.
Because of Daryl, Glenn is dead now. Do you feel like Glenn had it coming from the whole get-go, and Daryl just kind of pushed him there before he was actually going to do it? He was just going to do it anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I expected Glenn to die in this episode. I expected Glenn to be the one that he killed. Right off the back, I was not expecting Abraham to die this quick, and yeah, I blame Daryl.
Yeah, and that's kind of crazy that for a second you would think like Daryl would be the one that's going to die because he's the one that kind of acted out.
I thought he was gonna be the second one before the season started.
You have to think, like, he just signed on for Boondock Saints 3. You would think, oh, maybe his contract is up. Maybe they're going to kill him.
That still doesn't get, because he's such a big magnet to the show that it's still too soon, I think, to kill him off. Granted, we don't know his fate because he's not part of the books, and even if he was, they could always change how his outcome is. But I think if they kill Daryl now, there goes the whole fan base, all the women at least.
I don't know. I had heard something. I thought Daryl was a goner because I had heard something about Norman Reedus selling his house in Georgia. So I figured maybe that was a telltale sign that he's not going to be on much longer.
Yeah, he's like prepping to move out. Well, I saw this leaked image of. See, I couldn't tell if it was photoshopped or not, and I didn't see it all over the place, so I wasn't really quite sure. But it looked like Daryl hanging from something with his intestines coming out.
That was from a movie he did a few years ago.
And people just kind of like mixing it up and trying to like.
It was a sci-fi movie. It was on a space station. I cannot remember.
Pandorum.
That was it.
Okay, I hadn't seen that, so I guess if I would have seen that, I probably would have caught that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, so. But I blame Daryl.
I think your hatred is misplaced.
I don't hate Daryl. I like the character. I like how Norman Reedus has gone about portraying him. I just think in this precise moment, Daryl fucked up.
Yeah,
and I understand that he acted out after Abraham's death too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. And they were talking in the Talking Dead about how they what's his name, Glenn. He was saying that he feels that his character wouldn't hold any like hostility towards him because he just knows in that situation, like you just looking at everyone is literally like broken, like they've got no sleep. They're living in the zombie apocalypse. They've been playing cat and mouse with Negan and his people for, about a week at this time or so. They're just drained, and now they're all on their knees with a guy and a baseball bat with barbed wire wrapped around it.
Lucille.
They have been pushed to their limits, and I mean, look at Daryl. I mean, in all honesty, after Abraham, Daryl's the one that I see as like the big badass because he just seems like he's not the one that would so easily back down, and that's kind of why he just jumped kind of out of it and started fighting back because it's not really in his character to just completely not do anything. That's why that hurt Rick because he kept saying, I'm wanting that look. He wants that look where he just knows that he's given up all hope. And that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And Abraham, he went out like a boss too, I think. They say, suck my nuts. That's Abraham. That's a way to go. And I remember him in the last episode of the last season when Negan got to him and pointed the bat at him, he kind of stood up straight, stood up like kind of attention, even though he's on his knees,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? And that's Abraham.
Yeah, like
Honestly,
he's the only one that's up straight the entire time while they're
you know,
in their little.
the whole thing with Glenn and Abraham dying, that was rough. But I'm going to argue him trying to make Rick cut off his own son's arm.
That was so tense.
More intense.
Yeah, that was super intense. I was watching it and my stomach was in knots. Like, was he gonna do it? And I guess it made a nod to the comics because Rick said no. Take my arm. Because in the comics, hell, Rick is missing an arm. He's walking with a cane. He's beat up.
By this point, yeah, he's completely messed up.
Yeah, and I thought that was a cool little nod to the books. Him saying take my arm and leave him alone. But yes, I agree with you on that. That was intense.
Yeah, it was kind of uh, like the old Bible story where a guy goes and sacrifices his child on the mountain, and the last minute an angel intervenes. It's like Negan is just wanting to push people to these like horrible extremes just for his sheer enjoyment.
Yeah, because
And
he's
that's what's
fucking
scary.
Satan, basically.
It's like he has like no fucks given. Like he just doesn't care.
And that's one of the great things about Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He plays so many asshole characters, and he does it really, really well. Look at Supernatural. John Winchester was the worst father those boys could have had.
Oh,
Yeah.
complete
Alex
asshat.
Negan, yeah, perfect role for him.
Yeah, seriously, comedian.
The Losers. That he really wasn't a bad guy in that one, and that's really how he came on my radar. Was that movie right there?
Yeah, that's like the one thing he's done outside of, I guess, maybe Batman vs Superman, where he's not a bad guy.
That's because he was in Batman versus Superman for all of.
Like 5 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we get to see him more, like some flashback stuff, because that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Or maybe Flashpoint.
He's a type
Flashpoint.
of Batman.
Oh my god. All right. I'm super excited for the rest of the season. We got a sneak peek at the next episode where we get to see the kingdom, which I am super excited about seeing Ezekiel and his tiger, and how I'm ready to see how the gang comes up with a way to bring Negan down and the survivors.
Yeah. Now,
It'll be-
how long does Negan play out in the comics?
If you read the books, Negan is currently still alive in the books. I can't remember the exact issue. I want to say it was issue 100
Yeah,
or somewhere.
He
With
comes in
100
around
books.
100 because they were talking. I was reading something about that happened with Negan in like 105. So what are they on right now?
They're at they're in the 150s, 60s range, and Negan is still alive. Yeah. Again, they don't really follow the books. This is, like you said, this is Glenn's death is the most comic accurate thing since heck, I don't remember the last thing that
I
was.
guess is Carl's face messed up?
Yeah, Carl is missing an eye, so I guess that
Yeah.
I guess that's the last thing. But
But wasn't the timing off on that? Like it didn't happen at a different time than.
no, it was pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the books, of course, Rick and the group, they come out on top over Negan and the survivors, or Negan and the survivors. And Rick, being Rick in the book, he's not as violent as he is in the show. He wants to kind of preserve the old way of life, as opposed to now where he's like, you got to fight to survive and kill to survive. He's the complete opposite in the books. He built a prison cell in the basement of one of the houses in Alexandria, and he locked Negan up. And until just recently, Negan was in the cell. He got out, and there's another group called the Whispers that they wear the zombies' faces like skins, kind of like what they did in the first season. How they got all.
Okay. They just took it to
but-
a whole nother level.
they take it to a whole new level. They skin them and they wear their mask, and it's disgusting. But Negan is now with those guys, and it's getting kind of intense.
Sounds like he belongs there.
Yeah, but it's weird right now. But Negan's still alive in the books.
The zombie apocalypse is going to drive you a little batty.
You're gonna see some sides of people.
Yeah, you see, it brings out the worst.
Well, it's nice to know that he's still alive in the comics. So there's.
Oh man, he's a total. I mean, Jeffrey Dean. You know, I know there's limits to what they can do on TV with it being on regular cable, but in the books, every other word out of Negan's mouth is the F word. He cusses like a sailor.
He's foul.
Yeah. Which honestly, it's funny the way he talks is hilarious. He's kind of the Deadpool of the Walking Dead universe, I guess. He's got a potty mouth. I mean, he doesn't know he's a comic or anything, but he's got a potty mouth.
Yeah, and it's crazy because a lot of people are like going off on The Walking Dead for how like bloody and brutal it got. But this is like the brutalest they've got, within the show's history, and it's up until now it hasn't even really compared to how graphic it got in the comics. They've condensed it down a lot. I mean, it's still rated TVMA, so I mean, you should know to an extent you're watching something that's going to be heavily bloody.
And they give you a warning before the show too, which I don't understand. You get the warning, don't watch it. If you're going to be upset about it, don't watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the books, man. Talking about the books being graphic with the governor, when the governor was around, Michonne, she hammered and nailed his nuts to the floorboard. It was pretty graphic right there.
He also brutally raped her, which I
did.
quit following the show. I don't know if they did that in the show.
No, they didn't.
Oh, okay.
Instead, he basically pseudo-raped Maggie a little bit. There was
Yeah.
a topless scene with her.
But yeah, that wraps up my opinions on the season opener.
So there's no telling what, and I saw this one video earlier that pointed out they added something to the opening credits. Wherever you see Jeffrey Dean Morgan's name, you see like a fireplace, and you see an old iron, like for ironing clothes. Like you see an old iron sitting right there.
Yes.
Because in the comics, isn't that one of his things? Like he likes to.
No, there's a character in the show called Dwight. He's got half of his face is burned. In the books, Negan hooks up with his wife because Negan, he's got like 5 wives, and one of them happens to be Dwight's wife. And I can't remember what he did, but he did something that disrespected Negan. So he took an iron and burned his face. That's what that's from. I missed that. I didn't see that.
So that's not something that's not like a torturing method he does a lot. That's just something that's kind of like a nod to.
I think he threatens people, if I recall correctly, but Dwight's the only one he has done, to my recollection.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you only need one to prove a point.
Yeah. So, it's just like
Rick.
it just shows his stranglehold over his people.
You needed 2 for that.
I'll blame
You go, okay, cool. Afterwards.
Oh, I blame him 100%. Granted, I knew Glenn's death was coming, but I wasn't expecting it to come like that.
Yeah.
As an outside perspective on this, just listening in, I don't know. Negan kind of seems like the guy that would just as soon murder everyone as it wouldn't really matter. Like nothing would need to set him off. He'd just be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna kill everybody.
Yeah.
No, he is.
And those are probably one of the main reasons why he went after Abraham, because Abraham was a big dude and could stand a chance to, overpower him. So why not get rid of, any major competition?
Mm-hmm.
He uses he's tactful, and he just uses his psychotic intimidation as a way of manipulating people in the comics.
Yeah.
So it's it's I don't know, from what I've seen, because I quit following the show a while ago, but from what I understand, with how Jeffrey Dean Morgan's doing it, it's definitely they're keeping pretty close to it, and that makes me want to start watching it again.
Yeah, honestly, I stopped watching at the beginning of season 5, but I tuned in the other night with Tyler just to sort of get an idea of where they were headed with it. And honestly, that one episode was enough to make me interested again.
Yeah, it was a nice like spark to like show people what's to come and because I think it's gonna get a lot better because
It's gonna get way better.
Yeah, because they've had they've learned like throughout the past couple seasons like what they did that people didn't enjoy, and so now they're gonna get rid of all that and kind of just move forward to more of the action.
Hey, if it means they're gonna follow the books more, I'm all for it because that was honestly kind of one of my reasons why I tuned out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not one of those people where it's like I want to know what happens, so I'm going to read the books all the way through. It's just one of those things where it's like the books just did it so well, and you know, I understand they have to like change some stuff around because, like you guys have said, it's on cable, so they have to be mindful of what they do. But at the same time, just like you know, the storytelling was there, so it's like I don't get the changes. Like I'm okay with additional characters, but it's just like I feel like they took a lot of deviations, and it just kind of bothered me. I don't know, but I just like the path that they seem to be going on now.
Yeah, they're on the right path.
Yeah, so a lot of good things are probably going to come with that. So we're probably going to be covering a lot more with The Walking Dead coming up, especially here within the next few weeks. You know, while the show's still on. But I guess we're going to go ahead and move on to some other news because that was pretty much a big chunk of this show. But there's a lot of cool things that are going on that are being released, and just a lot of cool stuff that we just want to update you on. And first off, I'm going to start off with some. We're just going to consider this just Michael Fassbender news because they both pertain to him. It has to do with Alien, Covenant, and Assassin's Creed. So there was an interview going on recently where Fassbender, you know, quote unquote, let it slip about the Neomorph, which is apparently a new alien that we're going to be seeing in Alien Covenant, which, if you're not aware, is a sequel to Prometheus, but prequels to Alien.
That's interesting because like I've heard we're gonna see the Xenomorph too, and so to see both the Xenomorph and their take on like a new creature will be interesting as long as it's just like not like the newborn.
I gotta say though, the name for it's a little on the nose.
Yeah.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
If they call it Necromorph, I would laugh.
Neo literally means new.
Oh.
So calling it Neomorph is just, you know, a new version.
Yeah, it's like literally at its basics, it's what it means. It's just.
To be fair though, if they're going to the engineer's planet, that could just be what they're developing. So I could see, I don't know.
And I read somewhere that it's rumored that we may end up seeing a king alien.
That would be sweet.
That would be nice. I actually just watched all the Alien movies. They were on AMC the other day. I don't think I've ever watched them all the way through, and you know, I'm not a big fan of Prometheus, but the original ones are really good.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever actually watched them all the way through, but they're on the list. They're on the list for one day viewing it all the way.
The first two are great. The third one kind of pissed me off, and the fourth one just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the third one was okay. I agree. I think the second one, the one with Bill Paxton, game over, man, game over. That one's my favorite.
So they kind of follow the Terminator path.
Yeah.
You kind of
Yeah.
use that quote every time I see you.
Yeah, that's my favorite movie quote. One of them.
Another movie coming out with Fassbender is the new Assassin's Creed, which is coming out this year. So Alien is later on next year, towards August, but Assassin's Creed is actually December of this year, which I'm sure we'll probably have some stuff on News for Nerds going on there. Maybe have some Assassin's Creed recaps. Either y'all like major Assassin's Creed fans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the game.
So what do y'all think about them? They're actually like filming The Leap of Faith. Like
I'm really excited to watch the movie.
Yeah.
I saw the clip where they're talking about how they were trying to avoid CG for the jump, and they're
Yeah.
actually having a guy on the crane at different heights.
Yeah, I literally saw him jump 100. I think it was like 120, 125 feet.
I think
Yeah,
they said it was
they
something
did
like
3 jumps.
the highest free fall.
Yeah,
I think it broke the record for highest free fall without a chute.
yeah. It was
Yeah.
just insane that they're able to do this kind of stuff. And I'm glad
It's
they're
one of those
trying
things
to
where
do that.
it's one of those things where regardless of the movie is, the stunt work is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, and the fight scenes, it's just. But that's one thing I'm excited to see, because I know it's just probably going to have some really sick-ass camera movements within the fight scenes and everything.
I mean, and they talked about doing an Assassin's Creed movie years ago, and everybody was always up in arms. No, it doesn't need to happen. They can't make it work. Now that we've actually seen trailers for it, I couldn't be more pumped to watch it.
Oh, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and the fact that Michael Fassbender is playing the lead. I mean, that is...
He's been attached to it for a while, from what I recall.
Yeah. He's been attached to it for what?
At least 2012.
Yeah, 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of been like Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like, what, a decade
Yeah.
or more?
Which, not to go off on a tangent there, but just a quick thought on the whole Deadpool controversy we got going on here.
That came out of left field.
Yeah.
It did, but I can understand why it happened. Tim Miller and Ryan Reynolds, when it comes down to it, they're going to go with Ryan Reynolds over that.
Because he's the face.
Right, he's the face of it. He's a producer.
The ugly,
it's
charred,
his say, ultimately.
disgusting face.
And I think I remember reading that Tim Miller wanted a smaller dude to play Cable, which just doesn't really fit with the character. That's why
They wanted the guy from Friday Night Lights. Like the guy who was the dad in Super 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
They want him to play Cable.
Yeah,
I want
no.
Stephen Lang.
Yes.
Is that the dude from Avatar?
Yeah, the dude from Avatar. Now, I think the other dude, I can't remember his name, the one that Tim Miller wanted, he would have been fine, but it's just like Stephen Lang looks like Cable.
Yeah, he's got
Look
that
at him in
double bone
Avatar.
structure.
And if I remember, I think he wants the role too. I think he's vied for it.
Give me Stephen Lang or Ron Perlman.
Yes.
I'll take those.
Either of those perfect
Yeah.
casting choices.
So how many people out there are still playing Pokemon Go?
Me.
I know I am.
I actually,
Pokemon Wild.
I saw the update, the Halloween update. Haunter is my favorite Pokemon. I don't know if I told you guys that, but Haunter's my favorite Pokemon. And and I was super excited because Ghastlies are everywhere, and I finally caught enough to get a Haunter. And a Gengar. I caught enough to evolve into a Gengar, but
See, that's like
just killing it out on the street.
when they release the new update, and like because you get like double candies now when you trade your Pokemon, which is awesome. And
Yep.
I saw that they were going to be increasing certain Pokemon, and open up, and I see like 3 Ghastlies. I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna get a Gengar in no time. Not even like 5 minutes later, a 657 Gengar pops up, and I'm like, awesome, let's do this.
Yeah, like as a matter
Yeah.
of fact, I just opened the app and there's a Ghastly like just right outside.
Catch it!
Nice.
Yeah, so it's definitely, if they keep like, they'll have like a steady user base throughout the year, but when they have events like this, they'll definitely just it'll just be like it'll spike in popularity and then it'll go back down, because in reality it does get a bit repetitive.
It's something to keep everyone's interest until they're ready to release second gen.
Yeah, and since they're doing double candies, it's like your buddy Pokemon, it doesn't take as many steps right now to get a candy that way as well. So
I mean, I think the bigger news than really the Pokemon Go update is you have Sun and Moon. They finally unveiled, like the starters' final forms and their
Yeah.
toppings.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
I've already picked my starter.
I'm doing the cat. It's the kitty.
'Cause, I mean, you got some more toppings. The grass type is now Grass Ghost.
I'm super pumped
You
about
have Fire Dark, which thank God it's not a fire fighting again,
that.
and then a Water Fairy.
You don't want a firefighter?
Not again.
No.
There was like 3 or 4 generations in a row where it was firefighting.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about Grass and Ghost. I think that's going to be an amazing combination.
He's an archer. He's my pick.
I'm definitely picking up Moon, I think. Just based on the forums I've looked at and some of the exclusives for Evolutions, I'm swinging more towards Moon now.
I've got them both pre-ordered, but I'm going to, I think, primarily focus on Sun.
You kept coming in and out there. What was it that you said?
I was just saying that after seeing all the special evolutions and the Alolas, I think I'm going to go for Moon over Sun.
What are you picking up, Phil?
Yeah, I definitely
Gotcha.
Sun is my priority.
Yeah, Sun's probably.
Yeah, Sun, Team Sun. Well, Sherlock, looks like you gotta go with Moon, so Mike's not.
I gotta get a DS first.
Oh snap! There you go. Get it, but I'm pretty sure they'll release one with the Pokemon.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, they have
Maybe.
a special Sun and Moon 3DS that you can get that has the legendaries on the front.
Oh, cool.
There you go. Speaking of Sun and Moon, you've got the new expansion coming out. I want to say the second for the TGC. It's Pokemon X and Y Evolutions, which pretty much they've released the card list and they've released the art and all that. They're pretty much the reprints of the original 150. Well, I don't want to say all 150 will be printed because I'm not 100% sure on that one, but they're the exact reprints of the cards we got growing up.
Yeah, so they have the same artwork and everything, right?
Yeah, exact same. I think the moves might be different. I'm not 100% on that, but the art is definitely the same.
Yeah, I do think that I think the movesets have changed a little, because I was browsing through and taking a look at some of them on Pokemon's website earlier.
I mean, they probably did that to modernize it to where they're actually playable.
Oh yeah,
It's current stuff.
because I mean, you got to look at the older generations cards, and they just don't stand up to new generations at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Everything's overpowered.
Yeah, it's like my Charizard. It's only 120 HP.
Yeah.
My old one, and its moves only does. I think it was like 80.
It now does
Yeah.
200.
200, yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like an overpowered Pokemon card,
And you
but
don't have to evolve it. Like,
yeah, no, the EX rule, you don't have to evolve it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, heck, if you look at any current fights, I played Delphox against Mike the other day. It does 20 damage for all energy.
Yeah.
That's insane amounts of damage. Older stuff just can't handle that.
When does this drop?
The second?
yeah, November 2nd.
Okay, cool. Because I personally, I haven't really played the game or the card game that much, but I have collected them, and I'm like within like 6 cards of having all the original 150.
5 minutes.
Someone's got a time limit.
I got a time limit. Wait, got a wedding going on tomorrow, and apparently they need my help to
So wait,
do
they
stuff
moved
that's
the date
pointless.
up on you?
Not tomorrow, Saturday? My bad. See, I don't even care.
I wouldn't say that too loud.
Oh,
I
we got
guess-
this on recording.
Yeah, I guess we'll
Yeah,
jump into
yeah.
these last few things here real quick.
Yeah.
So, guys, I got 5 minutes.
Yeah, I got a couple more movie announcements. Any Cloverfield fans from the first two? I mean, we just got the latest one earlier this year, and we've already got a confirmed third one that's coming out February of next year, called God Particle. So, not too much on that, but something to look forward to. I enjoyed those movies.
Oh yeah, especially the new one was really good.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, they didn't have much of a budget on that one, and they pretty much like doubled it within opening weekend, so it was almost destined that they're going to be doing another one. So I'm interested to see how they're going to bring all this together, because we've got two totally different style movies now. How are we going to tie everything up with the third one?
Yeah.
There was a second one?
Yeah, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
That was a sequel?
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
but it wasn't like directly related to anyone from the first one. It's just taking place within.
The world.
The same time frame?
Yeah. So you,
It's supposed to be like Twilight Zone, kind of.
Hmm. I did not know that.
And in Marvel news, Thor Ragnarok just wrapped filming, so we'll probably get some teasers, something from that coming up pretty soon. and next week Doctor Strange comes out. So I know that's when we've all been anticipating for a good while.
Have you seen?
Yeah.
Have you seen the Jimmy Kimmel bit where
Yes.
it's like he invites Doctor Strange to the birthday party? It's hilarious.
And like all the kids end up being like disappearing.
I love the like house-esque like American accent that Cumberbatch is doing.
Yeah. It's kind of surreal to like I wasn't really thinking about it until I actually watched that Jimmy Kimmel segment, and I was just like, oh yeah, wow. Which, speaking of Benedict Cumberbatch, we do have the announcement for season 4 of Sherlock coming January 1st.
Yes.
Hopefully, they
No, it's happening.
So many good.
If they
things
shot
coming.
the thing, they're sticking to it.
Matt, why don't you go ahead and talk about that new series you're reading?
Well, DC's doing a 6-issue limited run of Raven, as in like from the Teen Titans. She's got her own book, and it's really good so far. Basically, the Titans have kind of disbanded in a way. It kind of plays off of where the New 52 Titans kind of ended before the rebirth, from what I understand. And she has gone to live with her aunt and uncle in San Francisco, and she's adapting to like the new high school she's going to and everything. It's really good. The artwork's really good. Marv Wolfman, who him and George Perez created Raven as well as the new Teen Titans, he wrote it, and it's really funny. Surprisingly, really funny, especially like Raven's facial expressions. Like there's one point where she thinks someone's figured out who she is, and she's got this just oh shit look on her face, and then it just turns out it's just someone pointing at like kind of like a goth metal band poster, and that she looks like the girl in the poster, and she's like, oh thank God. It's really good. They're only on issue 2 now, and I'm about halfway through issue 2, but it's very, very good. And I guess to kind of like just like jump off of that into like one other thing I want to briefly touch on was I saw Shin Godzilla week before last when it did its limited American run, and it wasn't bad. It just felt like it was kind of missing some of the human element that I liked from the 54 movie. But Godzilla himself was terrifying and cool.
Do you have a lot of screen time?
He has about as much screen time as the 2014 American movie, but he's utilized in more of the traditional sense. Like, he's just kind of there. He's not constantly moving around and hiding like the American one was. It's like he's in plain sight. Like, there's a point where he just goes into like this kind of like freeze mode where he just like powers down. They're kind of playing up like his his organs and shit are like a nuclear reactor, and he basically feeds off of like nuclear energy and stuff. And so there's literally one point where he just basically goes into standby in the middle of the city, and obviously they can't move him, they can't destroy him, they can't hurt him. So they basically just have to sit there and think about like what do we do when he wakes up? Like, what do we do when his power level reaches enough where he's going to start walking around and blasting stuff again?
So he just like stops and takes a power nap, and he's just like.
It's not even a power nap. He literally freezes in place. Like, he leans up against the building and just freezes.
He's like, I'm just gonna park right here for a second.
Pretty much.
5 minutes, guys.
Leveling a good portion of Tokyo, he's just like, okay, I'm good. I'm just gonna sleep this one off. But he has multiple forms in the movie. Like, the first form, he is like very like fetal. Like, he doesn't even, his arms haven't grown in yet, and he's literally just dragging himself through the city. It's kind of funny, but it's infinitely more disturbing because it's like this infantile thing is just destroying and wreaking havoc and murdering all these people. And then his second form is basically like he grows his arms, he turns red, he stands up on his 2 legs, he roars, and then he dashes into the ocean. And the whole thing is he's like the most evolved creature on Earth, so what takes like one like creature millions of years to do, he can do in like a few hours. And basically he goes out into the ocean and comes back as like the giant like burned looking monstrosity that you see in like all the posters and stuff, and he's like genuinely terrifying. Like, he doesn't move a whole lot, but just his presence, like the way they shoot it is just like they get him from like right below, so he just looks like he's like towering over everything, and he like his power just seems to grow, and it's really cool. I'm looking forward to like how in like a future movie he fights like other monsters, because I think they're gonna go with that. They should at least.
I'm gonna have to like check that out. Actually, sounds pretty good.
it's a long one. It's only like an hour and 45 minutes, but it's really slow because it focuses heavily on like the bureaucracy in Japan. So it's like kind of a political satire because it's like, look how many like stupid board meetings we have to like organize just to figure out if we can fire missiles at this thing. And I see it. It's like it's clearly the filmmaker's giant middle finger to the Japanese government, but it's one of those things where it's like I get it, but it's like, can we get to the Godzilla, please?
Yeah.
Can we maybe focus on a few key people who are working within all the bureaucracy rather than like we're focusing on like at least 10 or 12 bureaucrats the whole time?
I came for the Godzilla.
Yeah, it's like my thing with the 2014 movie was I got the human element, but they didn't like overdo it, I feel like. And I just wish there was more Bryan Cranston, but still, it was like I got my Godzilla, and when I got my Godzilla, it was great. With this, Godzilla was great, but it's just kind of like he's just destroying stuff, and after a while, it's kind of like, okay. And how they defeat him, it's kind of underwhelming. Like, it makes sense. It makes total sense. And it's actually really cool because they kind of reference the whole like, nuclear meltdown thing, because it's very much playing off of the nuclear meltdown that happened in Japan about like 5 or 6 years ago. But it was just one of those things where it's like, after all this destruction, it's like, that's it. That's how you get him. I don't want to spoil it, but it's very strange. But it definitely sets up for a sequel.
Nice. Anyone got any last things you want to go ahead and say real quick before we wrap up?
I'm not sure if it'll be this coming week, but more likely the next week. Phil and I will be doing a segment where we'll be talking about the Nintendo Switch and a couple other little tidbits of news for upcoming games and such.
Yeah, we've got a few articles already on both News for Nerds Gaming and the Fancast page to where you can check out some things on the Switch. But tune in for the special episode, and we'll have all that information gathered together for you.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions or anything you want us to talk about for it, feel free to leave it in the comments below.
Woo!
Well, if no one's got anything else, until next time, I'm the Luke.
I'm the other host.
I'm Charlotte Colvin.
I'm Lord Skywalker.
And I'm riding.